What is up, everyone? It is Steve Bradshaw, and I'm coming at you just after the Ravens-Bengals game finished. So we did see Joe Burrow just got injured, which is having a massive impact on these players going forward. With that said, we're going to dive into these Week 11 rankings for the running back and wide receiver position, jumping into the top 24 guys to give you who you should be starting if they obviously don't make the top 24 list. You shouldn't start them as an RB1 or RB2 unless it's a player that you actually have to. And then flex is a different story. We get all that kind of information up here. Just ask me. I am open to any questions. So if you have any questions about your team, just drop it in the comments down below. I will be replying to every single one of them. But let's just start with the wide receivers first. We have Tyreek Hill still in a tier of his own. Now that he's back, he's playing against the Las Vegas Raiders this week. Shouldn't be a shootout, so I expect the Dolphins to win pretty easily. But I was a little concerned about this with CeeDee Lamb last week, and we saw he went nuclear. The Raiders are a good story. They've had a few good games, but they're just no match. And there's no way that the Raiders are going to be able to contain Tyreek Hill. I expect him and Tua to go nuclear. So I'm just betting on that production early on where they are going to be throwing the ball for Hill just to go nuts. Then we drop down a whole tier to a bunch of guys. We got Amon-Ra against the Bears. Just a very safe option. Bad defense. The Bears just aren't good again. I think the Lions should destroy the Bears. So a little worried about that front, like I said. But Amon-Ra is a great player. And clear alpha in the offense. Everything you want. A.J. Brown, I'm tempted to have him above Amon-Ra playing against the Chiefs. He's been going crazy. He's going against the Chiefs. Should be a high-scoring game. The only caveat I have with A.J. Brown is that Devonta Smith is in the offense. So we've seen earlier in the year and at times where Devonta Smith goes absolutely bonkers, which makes A.J. Brown kind of just fall down in value. And then we see times like recently where A.J. Brown is the clear alpha and Devonta Smith is being viewed very poorly. So just the possibility that Devonta Smith could have a great game and that would very negatively affect A.J. Brown is why I have him a little lower on a week-to-week basis. Where Amon-Ra, even if Sam Laporta has a good game, he can coexist. Jameson Williams is just bad at football. Who could have seen this one coming? But anyway, Ja'Marr Chase, not a great game. But to be fair, Joe Burrow got injured, 9 points. I definitely think this would have been a lot different story with Joe Burrow. Not really going to dive too much into that. There's not really much else to say, except waiting on the news of Burrow and see how bad the injury is. Then we got Keenan Allen at 6, CeeDee Lamb at 5, Stephon Diggs at 7, and Cooper Kupp at 8. These guys are all pretty similar. I honestly, like I was saying with Keenan Allen, I honestly consider him moving above CeeDee Lamb. But I'm betting on the talent here just because Lamb is playing the Panthers. Again, like I said, should be a great matchup early on, but it's not going to be a shootout. The Panthers should get butt raised. Interesting game here. Keenan Allen, solid matchup, amazing player. Diggs, amazing player, solid matchup, like I said. And then Cooper Kupp, we got Matthew Stafford back, and I'm not going to be too hesitant on Kupp. We've seen him come back from injury and look great already this year. And it seems like almost every time he's playing Stafford completely unlocks him. He's putting up almost 20 points, so having him as wide receiver 8 is honestly too low, assuming he comes back in, just does what he's been doing for almost his whole career with Matthew Stafford. Then we'll drop down to Justin Jefferson at tier 3, and it's really hard to rank him here because obviously he's going to be much higher than this the rest of the season, but I don't want to aggressively rank him out the gate with who knows how much he's going to be playing, and especially against the Broncos. I think this should be an interesting game, and he does have Patrick Surtain on him, so again, it's not going to be a majority of the snaps even. I wouldn't even say more than 50% or like 70 actually, but still a little concerned about Jefferson. Give it a week. Still a low-end wide receiver 1 for me. Mike Evans against the 49ers is in a spot to crush. Not only has he just been great this year, but the Buccaneers are going to be trailing by, they're 11.5 point favorites to the 49ers, so Baker Mayfield is going to throw the ball even more than usual. He already throws the ball a ton, which is great for Evans, and he loves to throw the ball downfield, and when they're down by possibly double digits or 2 scores, they're going to be airing it out, and the number 1 target of that is going to be Mike Evans. So at 11, we have Puka. Same thing with Kupp. I think he is directly tied to Stafford as well. Kind of showing he's a talented player. Then we have Devonta Smith going up against the Dolphins. Now, they'll be playing from behind. I think Aiden O'Connell's honestly not a bad quarterback, so I don't hate him here. Adams had 14 points last week. I mean, just based on the talent, I think we still have to have him at wide receiver 12. Then we go to Devonta Smith, playing against the Chiefs. Not the number one. A.J. Brown's been going crazy. Smith has been on a bit of a slow streak, but still, high-scoring game. Pretty talented player. Then we got Thielen against the Cowboys. Again, they should be trailing, but still, Thielen is still very good. I think he's underrated with his age and all that stuff. Brandon Ayuk against the Bucks. My concern is the target competition and the game script. Highly doubt they're going to use that many wide receivers and just run the ball for a lot of the game. But Ayuk is still a phenomenal player, and they still have to throw the ball early on. So I really like Ayuk here as well as, a low-end wide receiver 2 on most weeks. Then we go down to tier 4. We got Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson. And honestly, I was considering making them their own tier, but they just haven't proven enough, in my opinion, to be a tier of their own. Waddle, you just have the talent, good offense. Garrett Wilson, bad offense, but you have the talent and consistent target volume. Terry McLaurin against the Giants. Christian Kirk against the Titans. Deebo Samuel against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, all pretty good players, just not phenomenal matchups. Then tier 6, we have Marquise Brown. I really expect him to bounce back. He was phenomenal with Kyler Murray last year. Averaging about 10 targets a game, 18 points per game. So hopefully bounces back. He's still the most talented receiver in this Cardinals offensive room. Then we got DJ Moore. Fields should be back, which should help him out a ton. Tyson Bagent is not good. Even though I'm kind of out on Fields at this point, I still think he's a lot better than Tyson Bagent. Then we got Tank Dell against the Cardinals. Dell has proven he's the number one guy for most of the year with an almost MVP level caliber CJ Stroud, which is crazy to say out loud with how weird the rookie landscape has been this year. And then we got Deontay Johnson wrapping things off at 24 against the Cleveland Browns. Bad offense, commands targets, and I wouldn't project that 2.6 point week to continue on for really any of the year. But that said, let's dive into these running backs, and we have another guy in Chamber Zone, Christian McCaffrey against the Bucks. He's in a spot to just go nuclear. They're going to be running the ball almost every single play as soon as they get points on the board. They're 11.5 point favorites. McCaffrey is just that guy either way. And when you're favored by 11.5 points, you're going to run the ball a ton. And McCaffrey is able to handle that workload. At least it seems right now. He's being used a ton in this 49ers offense. Then we drop down to 3 guys in tier 2. Austin Eckler against the Packers. ETN against the Tennessee Titans. And Breece Hall against the Buffalo Bills. Now, Eckler and ETN are phenomenal players. Solid matchups. Breece Hall is a little concerning with the efficiency. But he's playing the Buffalo Bills. Should be a lot of points scored, at least from the Bills' end. But they haven't really looked too great. So, it should be an interesting game. I think the Jets can get up there and, score against the Bills, because they don't have a great defense. Then we got DeAndre Swift at tier 3. I have him up here at 5. David Montgomery at 6. Jahmyr Gibbs at 7. I'm expecting David Montgomery to have the larger role in the goal line work now that he is probably even more healthy than he was last week, and he probably wasn't 100%. They were feeding Gibbs. I think Gibbs' hot streak is going to run out at some point, but it really doesn't matter because they're back-to-back. If you have one of them, you got to start them either way. Then we're going Josh Jacobs against the Dolphins. Good player. They're going to be behind, so don't love the situation. Then we got Raheem Mostert, putting him above Devin Achane. He still gets most of the touches in the backfield, even though he's not incredibly efficient. And I'm not rushing Achane back against the Raiders. Again, non-competitive game. At least it should be. Then tier 4, we have Tony Pollard, who has been terrible this year. I mean, they're talking about giving Rico Dowdle receptions and just feeding him the ball. I definitely butchered his name, and it kind of just was so wild to even say that out loud. I just had a mini, freak out. But Tony Pollard's playing against the Panthers. Cowboys should destroy them. Panthers have a terrible run defense. We have to put him here right now. Then we got Saquon Barkley. Hasn't been great as of late, but he's this whole Giants offense, especially when they have a rookie quarterback. They're going to be forced to rely on him all the time. Can't walk against the Rams. Charbonnet scares me, but the Rams aren't a great matchup, so Don't mind that with Walker there. Then we got Aaron Jones against the Chargers. We'll love to have him even higher. I really believe in Jones, the workload and the talent, but I think the Chargers actually should handle the Packers pretty easily, not allowing them to run the ball too much. We got Derrick Henry against the Jaguars, Javonte against the Minnesota Vikings. Again, mid matchups, not really much. Rachaad White, we have him at 17 against the Buccaneers. And I love Rachaad White going into the year, but I think he's going to start to slow down at least this week. Now, he's never been an efficient runner, but most of his work is from the air. When you're down by 11.5-point favorites, like, you're not going to be able to get all these checkdowns that he is on a week-to-week basis, screen passes, all that stuff, which is why I have him a little lower than normal. Then we got Joe Mixon, who, was not... He was a lot better than expected, so it wasn't a good call, I'll admit it. He scored 21 points. Should have him higher, but rest of the season, I think that's about where you'll find him. Brian Robinson has been so good for no reason. Playing against the Giants should be a game where they let them run the ball, which is very important. Then we have James Conner against the Houston Texans. Conner has been, great for the first 3 games, and then just not good recently. So I got to put him high because this Arizona Cardinals offense is much improved. Then we're going with Pacheco against the Eagles. Again, high-scoring game. Honestly, could see Pacheco going even higher than this. He's starting to catch passes. Really starting to like Pacheco. But then we got tier 6, Singletary against the Cardinals. Looks like Dameon Pierce isn't going to play this week, so that's why we got the play there. Then Gus Edwards against the Bengals. That was my start of the week, and Gus Edwards just showed up. Made me look like a genius, so I really appreciate him. 21 fantasy points. Let's go. I probably should have a little higher, I guess, if he is my start of the week. But nonetheless, I thought it was ridiculous to rank him out the top 24. If you're going to do it, don't do it this week, because this was a great matchup for him on paper. Then Jaylen Warren against the Browns. It is what it is. It looks like he's taking over for Najee. I hate this offense, but you got to rank some of them there. Like, the names behind that are even worse, if you can imagine that. But that's really going to wrap things up. I really hope you enjoyed me running through these running backs and wide receiver rankings. If you have any questions, like I said, obviously I'm going to be doing a top 24 format. But if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments down below. If I already answered it, the only comments I don't answer or get back to all the time are the ones where if you ask me a question and the answer is in the video. Other than that, if it's like a deep flex play, for example, if you're like, should I start Ty Chandler or, I don't know, Khalil Herbert? Yeah, those are, since I didn't mention them, I wouldn't start them as an RB2. But if you really, really need to, just shoot me a message and I'll help you guys out. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.